At the age of 95, Clint Eastwood has lived a life filled with legendary roles, unforgettable performances, and decades of behind-the-scenes experiences in Hollywood. Known for his calm, tough guy image, Clint never spoke much about the people who rubbed him the wrong way. But now, as he enters the twilight of his life, he's opening up about some of the most difficult personalities he ever worked with, or refused to work with. Many fans have admired him for his roles in movies like The Good, The Bad, and The Ugly, Dirty Harry, and $1 Million Baby. But while the camera showed a strong, silent hero, real life was not always filled with smooth partnerships. In fact, Clint had his share of enemies and feuds in the film industry. He chose not to react at the time, but now, Eastwood is revealing the names of actors and directors who, in his words, never earned my respect. While Clint isn't one to gossip or seek revenge, his quiet disapproval was enough to freeze people out of his world forever. And for a man like Eastwood, that silence was more powerful than any public insult. From rising stars to respected veterans, from political arguments to artistic clashes, Eastwood's list of never-again names says a lot about who he is as a man, director, and icon. These aren't just stories of hatred, they are tales of values, trust, betrayal, and what happens when strong personalities collide behind the scenes of Hollywood. One of the most talked about clashes in Clint Eastwood's career involved documentary filmmaker Michael Moore. Their feud started back in 2005 at the National Board of Review Awards dinner. During the event, Eastwood took a shot, verbally, not literally, at Moore, joking that if the filmmaker ever showed up at his house with a camera, he'd shoot him. The audience gave a nervous laugh, unsure if Clint was kidding. Moore, who is known for his confrontational documentary style, took the comment seriously and later brought it up online. He included Clint in a list of conservative figures who he felt were against his work, mentioning Glenn Beck and Bill O'Reilly alongside Eastwood. While Clint later said it was all a joke, the tension between them never went away. Their problems went deeper than just one comment at a dinner party. Clint and Moore had completely different views on how films should be used. Moore believed in using movies to question power and uncover the truth. His most famous work, Fahrenheit 9/11, attacked the U.S. government's handling of the Iraq War. Clint, on the other hand, saw film as a place to honor, not attack. He grew up during times of war and had deep respect for soldiers. In his eyes, Moore's work felt disrespectful. This difference in beliefs created a wall between the two that was never taken down. Though they were both successful filmmakers, they could never see eye to eye. Another big name on Clint Eastwood's silent blacklist is director Spike Lee. Their disagreement wasn't just about movie styles, it was about race, history, and how stories should be told. In 2006, Eastwood released Flags of Our Fathers, a film about the U.S. Marines who raised the flag at Iwo Jima during World War II. The movie was well received, but Spike Lee criticized it for not including any black soldiers, despite the fact that African Americans also fought and died in that battle. Clint responded by saying the film was based on the specific moment of the flag raising, and at that exact event, there were no black Marines. He bluntly told reporters that a guy like Spike should shut his face, which only made things worse. Spike Lee didn't stay quiet. He argued that Clint had made 2 full-length films on the subject, over 4 hours of storytelling, without showing even one black soldier. He even offered to bring African American veterans of the battle to speak directly to Clint about being erased from history. Steven Spielberg, who helped produce Flags of Our Fathers, reportedly stepped in to calm the situation. But the damage was done. Eastwood and Lee never worked together, and their views on how to portray war and history remained worlds apart. While Eastwood defended his film as historically accurate, Spike Lee believed stories like these should also represent the broader truth, including voices that are often left out. Their argument was not just about one movie, it reflected 2 different visions of American history and who gets to tell it. One of the most unexpected names on Clint Eastwood's list is Leonardo DiCaprio. The two worked together on the 2011 biographical drama J. Edgar, where DiCaprio played the famous FBI director J. Edgar Hoover. Many fans expected the partnership to continue, given both men's strong reputations in Hollywood. But something went wrong. the film received mixed reviews, and more importantly, behind the scenes, Clint and Leonardo didn't get along creatively. Eastwood is known for his fast, no-nonsense style of directing. He often shoots scenes in just 1 or 2 takes and prefers to move quickly without a lot of rehearsals. DiCaprio, on the other hand, is a method actor. He likes to fully prepare, go deep into the character, and often asks for multiple takes to get things just right. According to co-star Armie Hammer, there was a clear moment when tension between them became obvious. Leonardo wanted to do a retake, but Clint shut it down immediately and called it a wrap. That kind of quick decision-making didn't sit well with DiCaprio, who prefers a more careful approach. Judi Dench, another cast member, recalled thinking they were still rehearsing when Clint had already begun filming. While Leonardo later said he respected Clint's unique directing style, it was clear their artistic methods didn't match. Clint has never cast Leonardo again in any of his movies, which says a lot considering Clint often rehires actors he connects with. This creative tension led to a one-time partnership that quietly ended with no public fallout, but no future collaborations either. In 2015, Clint Eastwood found himself at the center of another public disagreement, this time with comedian and actor Seth Rogen. It all started when Rogen tweeted about Eastwood's film American Sniper, comparing it to a fake Nazi propaganda movie shown in Inglourious Bastard. The tweet read, "American Sniper kind of reminds me of the movie that's showing in the third act of Inglourious Bastard." While Rogen later explained that he was talking about how the sniper was portrayed in both films, not making a political statement, many people were angry, including military veterans and conservative public figures. To them, Rogen's comment felt like an insult to real-life American soldiers, especially since American Sniper was based on the true story of Navy SEAL Chris Kyle. Eastwood, who directed American Sniper, didn't respond directly to the tweet, but insiders say he was deeply offended. For Clint, this movie wasn't just a war story, it was a tribute to the struggles, trauma, and bravery of those who serve in the military. To compare it to Nazi propaganda, even indirectly, was too much. From that moment on, Eastwood never acknowledged Rogen publicly and avoided any contact or professional relationship with him. As usual, Clint's reaction was silent, but it sent a clear message. In Eastwood's world, some lines, especially those involving respect for soldiers, should never be crossed. Not all of Clint Eastwood's difficult relationships were born out of arguments or political views. Some came from strong personalities clashing during creative work. Gene Hackman is one example. The two worked together on the 1992 classic Unforgiven, which won several Academy Awards, including Best Picture and Best Supporting Actor for Hackman. When Clint first offered Gene the role of Sheriff Little Bill, Hackman hesitated. His family was worried about him doing yet another violent role. But Clint convinced him by explaining that the film was actually a warning about violence, not a celebration of it. Hackman agreed, and the movie turned out to be a huge success. Still, behind the scenes, there were signs of tension. Clint avoided doing rehearsals with Gene, saying that Hackman was always good enough on the first take. But some insiders said it was also because Hackman often challenged Clint on how scenes should be shot or blocked. Known for his strong opinions, Hackman wasn't afraid to speak up, which sometimes clashed with Eastwood's calm but controlling style. Despite their differences, both men respected each other's talent. Clint called Gene's performance in Unforgiven intense and never false, and Gene appreciated Clint's trust. But they never worked together again after that film, suggesting that while the respect remained, the working relationship had reached its end. When Gene Hackman passed away in 2025, Eastwood paid a warm tribute, calling him a dear friend. It showed that even with creative tension, admiration can last a lifetime. Even before Clint Eastwood became the iconic face of the modern Western, there was John Wayne, the original cowboy hero of Hollywood. Though the two never worked on a movie together, they both had strong ideas about what the Western genre should be. John Wayne believed in showing clear-cut heroes, brave lawmen, and simple tales of good versus evil. His Westerns often painted a bold picture of American courage and justice. Eastwood, however, came along with a different approach. His westerns were darker, more thoughtful, and often showed the cowboy as a flawed, complex man. Films like The Outlaw Josie Wales and Unforgiven question whether violence really solves anything. Wayne didn't like that. He believed Clint's style weakened the image of the heroic cowboy and refused to work with him. Clint never publicly attacked Wayne, but he also didn't try to follow in his footsteps. Instead, he built his own path, showing that heroes can have flaws and that life in the Old West wasn't always black and white. Their silent rivalry was a battle between two ideas, one about American pride, and one about facing harsh truths. Though they respected each other's influence, they never truly agreed. Their legacies now stand side by side, each representing a different vision of America's past. Clint Eastwood has never been one to follow trends or seek approval. Whether behind the camera or in front of it, he has always done things his way. At 95, he has earned the right to speak his truth. And in naming the people he could never work with again, he reveals something deeper, not just grudges, but a lifetime of holding on to values that never changed. These stories are not just about hate or anger. They are about belief, integrity, and what happens when those things are challenged. From political fights to artistic disagreements, each of these relationships tells us more about the man Clint Eastwood truly is: quiet, unbending, and fiercely loyal to what he believes. While Hollywood moves fast and forgets quickly, Clint never did. And now, he's making sure the world remembers why. Throughout his long and extraordinary career, Clint Eastwood has shown that respect means more to him than popularity. While many celebrities chase headlines and public support through interviews and social media, Clint has always been the opposite. He doesn't tweet, rarely gives personal interviews, and chooses not to engage in public fights. When someone crosses a line with him, whether it's through disrespect, creative conflict, or political disagreement, Clint doesn't argue. He simply shuts the door. That's his style. To many in Hollywood, silence can be deadly. Being ignored or excluded from future projects can end careers. But Clint's approach isn't about revenge, it's about trust. Once it's broken, there's no going back. That's what makes the list of actors he'll never work with again so powerful. These aren't just disagreements. They're reflections of deep differences in values, beliefs, or work ethic. Whether it's a joke taken too far, a performance that clashed with his directing style, or a comment that insulted something Clint holds sacred, each story is a window into his personal code of honor. And unlike many in the entertainment world, Clint has never been afraid to walk away from even the biggest names in the industry if they cross that code. Clint Eastwood's quiet strength is one of the things that made him such a beloved actor. He always played characters who stood their ground, who believed in doing what's right even when it was unpopular. That same trait shows up in how he runs his film sets and manages his relationships. He believes in loyalty, discipline, and simplicity. If you come to set unprepared, waste time, or treat others without respect, you may never get another chance with him. And if you challenge him in a way that feels personal or dishonest, like mocking soldiers, bending history, or showing off for the cameras, you'll find yourself permanently cut off. This might seem harsh, but for Eastwood, it's just part of being true to yourself. At 95, Clint Eastwood has nothing left to prove. He has won Academy Awards, directed dozens of hit films, and worked with some of the best talent in the world. But more importantly, he's stayed true to himself. In a business that often rewards drama, dishonesty, and shortcuts, Clint chose the long road, one built on trust, discipline, and silent strength. His list of people he won't work with again isn't just gossip, it's a lesson. It shows that in Hollywood, as in life, how you act behind the scenes matters just as much as how you perform on camera. For Eastwood, respect is earned once, but lost forever.